Okay, so Patrick Beverley is a sixer in what I think was a perfect signing. But overall, what is Daryl Morey cooking this offseason? Is Jalen McDaniels coming back? What's he going to get for James Harden? Are we going to get Dame Lillard? I'm going to speak about all that in this video today. But before I do that, make sure you like the vid, subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. So first of all, I feel like Patrick Beverley is a guy who's been made for Philly for a long time. And it was a matter of when, not if, of him becoming a sixer at some point in his career. But this year is the year. I believe it was a vet minimum contract, so nothing too bank breaking. But we know what Patrick Beverley gives you. He's a high energy defender, very tenacious defender. His guy's going to talk his smack. We haven't had that kind of guy in a long time other than PJ Tucker. But I believe Patrick Beverley's more usable than PJ Tucker. You know, he's going to bring that toughness. We've been a team that's been accused of being soft for a long period of time. So I feel like Patrick Beverley's a very good addition. You know, recently, I know guys love their 3-point shooting, but recently he's been an inconsistent one. But throughout his career, he has showed signs of being a 40% 3-point shooter / high 30s. So Patrick Beverley can still hit a wide open shot. But I will say this. More needs to be done. Like, Patrick Beverley alone is not going to put us over the top or even do anything for this roster, if I'm being totally honest, if we don't make other moves as well, which is going to help you get better around the edges, because I know we don't have that much cap space, but still, is Jalen McDaniels coming back? I know it's not a thing where you have to rush, but then again, he is a UFA and he's not restricted. When I say UFA, I mean unrestricted free agent. So it's a thing where he can go wherever he wants. And I know some guys aren't that high on Jalen McDaniels, but I'm telling you right now, in the right system with the right coach, he can be a very high-level role player for your team. Nick Nurse type guy, same as Patrick Beverley, a Nick Nurse guy defensively who can apply ball pressure, pesky, you know what I mean? So I see why a guy like Patrick Beverley's here and a guy like Jalen McDaniels will fit this team. But is he coming back? What's going on there? Now, to touch on the whole James Harden situation, I believe that him opting in wasn't necessarily him doing a solid for Daryl Morey. He realised that, if I opt out, the Rockets don't want me no more. The teams I would want to go to don't have the cap space to get me. So let me opt in and now figure out a trade, you know what I'm trying to say, with the Sixers. So I genuinely feel like Daryl's not going to trade James Harden. I'm being dead honest. Because the offers you're getting back in return, I don't think Daryl will look and be like, that's worth having. Because in a year's time, you get Harden off your books. I believe they'll try to settle the differences and run it back for another year. Because realistically speaking, Daryl's a guy who does not trade star players or even higher level starters unless you're getting the farm in return. Look at what he was asking for Ben Simmons. Look what he was allegedly asking for Tobias Harris. He's not going to trade James Harden for Marcus Morris and Robert Covington. Let's be so serious now. So I believe the likelihood of him staying is quite high, even though it doesn't say so right now. But this is going to drag on. Then you're going to hear the Sixers and James Harden are going to try to work past this and play out the season, blah, blah, blah. And a guy like Patrick Beverley coming in definitely helps that, because in his podcast earlier this year, Pat Bev basically said he was going back to Houston with Harden. And he basically hinted to the fact that he wanted to reunite with James Harden, you know. Now he's in Philly. Could that potentially change James Harden's outlook on leaving? I'm not too sure. Now, I'm a bit both ways on this one. If James Harden gets traded, fine, but what are you going to get in return? And I understand everyone's still emotional about the way James Harden quit in Game 7, but he's still a high-level playmaker and scorer. Then again, I get why you'd want a fresh start. Me personally, I'm not opposed to trading him. But getting nothing in return doesn't help you right now, does it? Now, on to these Dame Lillard rumours. I don't understand, and I don't know why Sixers fans have any confidence this is getting done, because you've already seen the report that the Sixers aren't willing to include Tyrese Maxey, who out of all the teams interested is the best young player that's going to be involved in a potential trade. But then again, Lillard's already said that he wants to go to Miami. So I don't really see how Sixers fans think this is going to get done. Like, we don't have the picks. If we're not trading Maxey, maybe that's done for a leverage play for them to say that, I don't know. But if we're not trading Maxey, we have no picks, we're not getting Dame Lillard. Even with Maxey, we don't have the picks that we're looking for, so we likely wouldn't get Dame. So it's a thing where I think we need to completely shift off that gear, shift off that train, and focus on Maxey taking that leap next season, alongside the Sixers acquiring a point guard potentially in the James Harden trade, or getting one in the open market. I mean, Pat Bev is a point guard, but I mean starting point guard in today's NBA that can facilitate. But yeah, there's a lot of things which need to be ironed out, like his B-ball pool coming back. I wish he would, and I think he will. But no, what type of contract are we talking? Like, I believe Daryl's taking his time, because like I said, we are really treading on thin ice when it comes to that salary threshold. So you got to be careful and kind of gauge these kind of role players and not pay or overpay, So it's a thing where it's like, we'll see what happens, but I'll be really surprised if Jalen McDaniels and Paul Reed aren't back. But you've lost guys like George Niang. You know, I'm not the biggest George Niang guy for what he was worth. He was a good 3-point shooter. I mean, he got too much hate. He can't move and he's unplayable in the playoffs, but that's Doc Rivers' fault for overplaying him. He was still a valuable 3-point shooter who down the stretch of games won us so many games. I won't forget that regular season game against the Clippers where we came back by down like 25. George Niang's threes is the reason why we were able to go on a run and win that game. I know the regular season doesn't mean much, but for what it's worth, George Niang had a role. You can't let George Niang walk and not replace him. His 3-point shooting was something which we really needed at times. You can't then not get another floor spacer because we're going to be back in the situation in 2018, 19, 19, 20 where we're like, where's the shooting going? Well, we let go of a shooter. Where's the one we're going to bring in? You get what I'm trying to say? So there's certain areas that still needs to be filled. I'll be intrigued to see what Daryl's waiting for, what he's going to do in this open market. But then again, like I said, he's taking his time. Like, the Sixers not extending Maxey doesn't mean they don't want him. Obviously, they want Tyrese Maxey, but I feel like they're giving him a chance where it's like, Tyrese, show us your value, because they're in a situation where Maxey's agent is Rich Paul. If you see Desmond Bane getting 5 years, $206 million, you're looking at that thinking, I'm just as good, if not better than Desmond Bane. I want that same level of contract. And if you can't do maths, that's in the excess of $41 million a year. If I'm Daryl, I'm not coming into that either just yet. I'll be like, you know what, Tyrese Maxey, if you want that type of money, prove it. So he's giving Tyrese Maxey to potentially play up to an all-star level or become an all-star next season, which will then warrant that kind of money, or for him to not really progress as much, which I don't think will happen. Is Tyrese Maxey's a workhorse. But let's say he doesn't, and then play down his value so he can get him on a cheaper deal, rather than just rushing into the extension and being in a Jordan Poole situation. I'm not comparing the two because obviously Tyrese Maxey's way better than Jordan Poole, but you get what I'm trying to say. So it's very logical from Daryl to let him hit restricted free agency, and it's really down to Maxey. How much he wants to develop is going to depend on how much money he's going to get paid, but extending him now would have been too risky because I love Maxey, but that contract is flipping FD, I'm telling you right now. So yeah, there's a lot of things which Daryl is having to deal with right now. I feel like he's making the right decisions. He's gauging every potential avenue for James Harden, roster moves, and I feel like, you know, he's being strategic. Then again, Sixers fans want moves to happen now. But then again, you got to think, when you got these many things going on, you need to chill. Because if you think about it this way, there's a lot of teams who'll be thinking, in free agency, let's pick up a point guard. That may not materialize, and in a week's time, they're like, shit, there's no point guards available. But James Harden's available. Let's go and pursue James Harden. So that's the reason why you don't rush into certain things. So I believe he's taking his time. But when it comes to retaining our guys, I'd love to see Paul Reed and J-Mac come back. You know what I'm trying to say? I wouldn't want to see any of them go, especially because Jalen McDaniels, we didn't even get to see his full potential yet. You know what I'm trying to say, in the sense that he's a guy we traded for. We even gave Matisse Thybulle up. You know, Matisse Thybulle with Nick Nurse would have been a very welcomed addition, but hey, and he's shooting 40% from three in Portland. How convenient, you know. When he leaves us, he decides to be hitting his threes, but you get what I'm trying to say. So for a guy you traded a decent piece for, you know, it would be nice to retain that piece you got in return, which is Jaden McDaniels, not just give up on him. So we'll see what kind of contract he commands or what happens in the coming days. You know, in my luck, he might even re-sign the moment I upload this video. But there's a lot of things that could go on. There's a lot of avenues in which Daryl could take. But in my humble opinion, he's taken his free agency approach in the correct possible manner, if that even makes any damn sense. And he's just gauging the market. Like all this BS that the Knicks are monitoring Joel, if you ask out, Joel Embiid's not asking for a trade. You know, the roster may be a bit herky-jerky right now. You don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, Daryl's building up a plan. He's building up a strategy to build a very well-competitive team. Now, I will say this. I think most Sixers fans come to the realization that you're not getting Paul George in return or straight-up one-on-one superstar. But then again, I wouldn't be opposed to getting a few high-level role players. Like from the Clippers, there are trades that could work. Because like I said, we're not getting Paul George. But from Daryl Morey, you got Terrence Mann. You got Norman Powell. Robert Covington, you've got a 2028 first round pick. That's what I'm looking for. Maybe even another first round pick on top of that to just push it a little bit. But there are moves that could work, and I wouldn't be opposed to that because Rocco is expiring. Norman Powell's a nice piece, and so is Terrence Mann. So there's moves that could work. Or you're hearing Chicago Bulls rumors. I don't know how much ammunition there really is to those, you know, rumors and reports. I don't know if they're even true, but who knows? But like I said, the longer you wait, in my opinion, the more likely teams like the Clippers are to get desperate and be like, you know what, take Terrence Mann, take Norman Powell, take the first round pick, and boom, you're out of the situation. And then again, the more assets you acquire, it kind of frees you up because come the trade deadline, first round picks were so, you could get a lot for a first round pick at the trade deadline, but no one had any. So if you obtain some second round picks in return, come this year's trade deadline, we won't be the team with nothing to trade to improve our roster. We'll be the team with a couple of assets to potentially get better around the edges, which could greatly help us in the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, free agency so far has been quite interesting. I trust Daryl Morey to make the right moves, but so far so good in my opinion. There's not been nothing amazing like wow, but you know, I'll only be complaining if we don't bring anyone else in. We don't replace the shooting we lost in George Niang, and we don't bring back J-Mac and Paul Reed, but I'm sure we will. But that's all I got for this video today. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think, if you agree with me or disagree, all that stuff there. But thank you guys so much for listening. I'm out. Peace.